What's up? It's IronDrone.com, and today I'm going to be doing a video modification to my F450 flame wheel knockoff. I received this piece in the mail, which this allows you to be able to put lights on quadcopter. So basically how it works is it has a power plug here, so when your battery's plugged in to your quadcopter, it's going to be using this plug here, which makes this one free. So this is going to plug in here like so. Now, in order to get this to work, let's say on a flip switch system, it can be powered at all times if you choose to, or you can, run it into your receiver and have it on a flip switch. So then that way you have the ability to be able to turn your lights on and off. So in this case, that's what we're going to do. So whenever we rig this up, we're going to keep that in mind, is that we're going to be running this servo wire up into the receiver here, which is the Trinity 9X. If we look close here, it looks like it might be broke, but it's actually not. This positive wire is not running anywhere, so there's just a signal and a ground. And then what you have here is you have 4 leads coming off, power leads, and then these hook into your lights, which the lights have adhesive tape on it, which will go around on the edge of the quadcopter like so, and then we'll meet in with the power lead right here. So basically what's going to happen is that I only have 2 of the light strips because 2 of them didn't get sent. Ordered them from GearBest, and as many of you know, if you've ever ordered from them, it's not the best experience in the world, and a lot of times they forget to send your stuff. So in this case they did. I ordered some different colored lights for the back just to help with the orientation, and they didn't come in the mail. So what I'm going to do is, I don't like this wire right here, so I am going to actually trim it back a little bit. Like so. And then I'm going to put a little bit of electrical tape around this, so that way it holds it in there. Holds the wiring together. So let's pull this off. We're gonna rig this up. We're gonna be using the bottom of the top plate. I'm not gonna run it through the middle. I'm gonna actually run the battery off the bottom because of how I have the landing gear set up. I did a modification to the landing gear, if you can't tell, to give me some more space on the bottom for a gimbal, and I want to be able to run the battery down there, so then that way I can use the zip tie, or I can use the battery strap like it's intended to, and have the ability to be able to swap out the battery as easy as possible. So here we went ahead and we fixed this wire here, so now it's nice and tight. So basically what we're going to do is that if we want to get this to work on the flip switch system using this servo wire, we're going to take this top plate, and this is the rear. The flight controller is going to go right here in the middle, and this is going to mean that our quadcopter is facing forward. So we're going to go into the back part here, and we're going to have to run our battery up down below once it's all in place, and the battery cable right here is going to need to be able to fish up through this hole here and then plug in to our plug back here. So just to give you an idea of what we're going to do here is that you have your 4 leads coming off your power leads. So we're going to run this one through this hole here. we're going to go ahead and we're going to run this one through this hole here. We're going to run this one through this hole here. And we're also going to run our servo wire through this hole here, so that way it can get to the receiver without an issue. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to plug that into channel 5. Polarity on the receiver is black is your negative, your white signal, red is positive. So I just went ahead and plugged that into channel 5. And now I have the light down below. And then this kind of looks a little bit like an octopus hanging on there, or a starfish, so we're going to need to go ahead and tighten these wires up to make sure they're not loose and vibrating around. And we're also going to need to zip tie our power point here into the board. So this is going to be our basic setup, and then when we flip it over, you'll see that the power leads are going to come out the top. We'll bend those down, and then we'll run them into the light strips. So I'm going to go ahead and get this thing all together here. And then we're going to start applying some zip ties in an effort to hold this in place. So I have double-sided adhesive tape which holds down my flight controller. It's worked great up into this point. I've had one wreck, and flight controller did not budge. So I'm going to go ahead and zip tie that one in. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to zip tie here. I'm going to pull back the tape again. I'm not going to get this too tight just at the moment. So then that way, if I do need to make some adjustments as far as slack goes, once I get the light strips on there, I'll be able to do that. This double-sided tape's giving me a little bit of problems, so I'm going to take it off for now. Got some more in case the sticky runs out on it. I hope it doesn't. It's working really good so far. It's going to leave a little slack in there. Come up and around. And get the zip tie started. So that way we can make our adjustments as needed. Okay, I'm going to pull this double-sided adhesive off too as well. Go ahead and zip tie this here. And I want to make sure that my top parts are flat here because I'm going to be putting some tape, and that's where the flight controller is going to be, and I want it centered. So we're going to go ahead and get that on there. Got that zip tie. Start tightening this one down a little bit. Now this thing's very delicate, this power piece here, and for the light, the distributor. So I need to be a little bit careful with it because it feels like I could break it at any point. zip tie this one through. Now this should hold our power point here, or power distributor, whatever you want to call it, in place. With all the power leads zip tied down. So they're all zip tied down. This is the top, how it's going to look. These are the power leads sticking out. And then once it goes onto the board, they'll be sticking out there to where we can start adjusting those and figuring out how we're going to run the lights. Stick out the lights to the motor arms. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just trim off the excess on the zip ties. And so now we have our base. So again, power leads are running through here, coming up through the top. Our distributive point and our power plug is right here in the middle, which runs the servo wire up through this hole here. I'm going into my channel number 5. I need to unplug it so I can adjust this cable here and get it as flat to the surface as possible. But this is going to give me the ability to be able to use a flip switch with my receiver. So I'm also going to run a zip tie around from here to my receiver, and that should give me the ability to be able to zip tie this power point down. Alright, so I was able to zip tie the receiver, and then by zip tying the receiver, basically what I was able to do is I was able to fish a zip tie around the zip ties that are holding the receiver. And if you look, then everything's on here. So I have the wire zip tied, the power distributor is zip tied here, wires run up through the top, and here. And we're going to get to putting the motors onto the quadcopter. Motors currently are not on the quadcopter, so we'll get those on there, and then we'll fire it up, put the flight controller on there too as well, and then we'll hook the lights up, so then that way we can get power to it, and then I'll be able to show you how we're going to do it. Right now I'm just going to focus on putting, since I only have 2 of the light strips right now, like I said, GearBest lost the other order. We're just going to focus on putting the 2 on the front, so then that way at least I have some front orientation when flying, because right now there's 0 orientation other than what you can see with your eye. So I'm going to cut to that video next once I get everything put together, and then that way we can start moving forward and showing off the lights. Alright, so I had to make a slight modification to the quadcopter. Made a mistake. I didn't really notice it until I put the top plate on, but I had the power distributor zip tied to the top plate, which I didn't account for, that I had to still put on the motor arms. So once I put on the motor arms, I had to remove these power leads, so they're coming up now through the motor arm holes here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the receiver in the front because I have my servo wire coming out the front and my power cord right here that will hook into the battery. So that was the only real change that I had to do. So just to give you a look inside, that's the power distributor right there with the power leads coming out here, 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 and here. So they're kind of tucked away, which will be nice. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on the receiver in front. I'm going to put on the KK 2.15 board, and then go ahead and hook up all the motors, and then install the light strips, so then that way we can see what the light strips look like on there. This will plug into the power lead there. I have it toggled to channel number 5 on the receiver. The flight controller KK 2.15 only allows up to 5 channels, so I will have one extra one, and that one I'm going to go ahead and use for the lights, since you can automatically set this for auto self-leveling without having to flip a switch for it. Normally you would. Since this thing flies a little bit squirrely, I'm going to be using auto leveling at all times. So I'm going to cut again. I'm going to go ahead and put the KK 2.15 board on there. I still need to flash the firmware, but I'm just going to put it on there for now, wrap this video up, as well as the receiver, so then that way we can install the lights, zip tie them down, and then tomorrow hopefully be able to get a flight in with this quadcopter. Alright, so everything's put back together. Don't mind the quadcopter, kind of looks a little bit like Frankenstein here. Still got a little bit of cleanup to do, zip ties, things like that. But I just wanted to get the video going here and get the lights up and running too as well. So as you can see down below here, if you look in the battery bay part here, you'll see the power distribution coming into the battery, and so everything else is hooked up. I got the motors all hooked up, so that way we can turn this on and then plug our light strips in and see what they look like, and see where we need to zip tie them to the quadcopter. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this back. I'm going to go ahead and flip on my controller. All switches are good. And then let's go ahead and hook up the quadcopter. Everything appears to be good. So we'll take the first light strip here. And we have our power coming out the top. And as you can see, it's blinking right now. So this should be toggled to switch number, channel number 5, which is our gear switch on the Turnigy. And it looks like we should be able to fit this with the adhesive tape around here like so. And then we'll also put some zip ties on there too as well. That looks like a good fit. So I'm going to go ahead and peel this tape off. And you should always clean these off for dirt and dust before putting any of the tape on there. These are brand new, so they shouldn't be dirty. At least I hope they're not. But while I have this plugged in, I'm going to go ahead and move this over into position. And we're going to go ahead and start sticking this to the quadcopter frame. Checking my ESCs, making sure none of them are hot, everything's running cool. So there we have it. We have one light strip on there. Now let's move to the second one. And again, the power lead is in the same position. Now I want to get a majority of the light running on the inside here, so then that way it'll help me with orientation of knowing exactly where the front of my quadcopter is. Okay. So it looks like we'll start the wrapping around here. Get that on there nice and even like so. Let the tape do its job and take a step back, turn off some lights so we can see the glow. So those are pretty bright and we should be able to see those at night. And the nice thing is that they're toggleable. I can toggle those through the switch. So if I switch it just this way, they're blinking. If I switch it again, I can turn them off. And then if I switch it again, I got them full on power. So this is all running off the battery, as well as it's running into the Turnigy X9. I've just got it running into channel 5. And then I have channel 5 hooked up to this gear switch right here. And it should go into blinking mode. Flip it again, still blinking. Flip it one more time, off. Flip it one more time, and we have solid lights. So now we at least have some front orientation on this thing. This should help tremendously because there's no orientation currently as of yet. We got the battery and everything all hooked up, so things look good. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the lights off, and then the next and final step is going to be zip tying the lights to the motor arms, and then we're going to clean up all these wires, zip tie them all down, install the propellers on there. What we'll first test to see, make sure that all the propellers are spinning in the, our motors are spinning in the correct direction, and then we'll go ahead and put the propellers on and flash the KK 2.15 board with the new software and take it out for a flight. So hopefully this video helped you out. If you're looking to get some lights on your F450, this is a very simple and easy way to do it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section, and be sure to subscribe to the channel for more upcoming videos.